Two women who had never met had the same thought. Jane Roberts, a retired French teacher, and Lois Abraham, a lawyer, were outraged when the George W. Bush administration reneged on its commitment to provide $34 million to the United Nations Population Fund. The fund helps provide contraception, sex education, and maternal health care for millions of women around the world. The two women started a grassroots campaign called 34 Million Friends of the Women of the World. We spoke with Jane Roberts and Norma Keller, president of the Centre County United Nations USA, the organization responsible for bringing Jane Roberts to central Pennsylvania. The UNFPA, the United Nations Population Fund, was started by President Nixon back in 1969. What is it?
Well, it's an agency of the United Nations which basically takes care of women, mostly in the field of health care, family planning, safe motherhood. It fights against AIDS, female genital cutting. Basically, it's for the women of the world.
The date, July 22nd, 2002, is a day that you will not soon forget. It's the day that the Bush administration, through Secretary of State Colin Powell, announced that it would not release the $34 million that had been approved by Congress for UNFPA. Tell us something about that.
Yes, well, that was very disappointing to me as an American citizen. I'm from California. I'm a retired French teacher and tennis coach. And literally, I was lying in my bed at 3 in the morning deciding that I had to do something. And this brainy idea came to me of asking 34 million Americans to chip in at least $1 for the women of the world.
To make up for what was being withheld by the Bush administration.
And now the funds that have been withheld equal $161 million. But we are asking the American people to give $1 for the women of the world so that they can survive childbirth, plan their families, and have a chance at education and just the same kind of opportunities that we have here.
In fact, you write in your book, which is called 34 Million Friends, that the fate of girls and women is of the utmost importance, not only to
it is.
To the world, really.
It is, Patty, for humanitarian reasons and also for issues of development, for issues of cutting down poverty, misery, illiteracy. This is what UNFPA works on. And 171 countries contributed to UNFPA last year, but not the United States of America. And this puts us really way out in right field, if you want to say. And so 34 Million Friends is totally grassroots. It's asking the American people, you know, we're here on the Penn State College campus. American girls don't worry about dying in childbirth, and they're lucky.
And it's the leading cause of death among girls 15 to 19 in third world countries.
That's true. So to date, our little grassroots campaign has raised not a huge amount, but $3,262,000. It keeps spreading. People tell each other, hey, 34 Million Friends is a wonderful thing. And I am so happy to be here in Centre County, right smack dab in the middle, because I was the speaker at the United Nations Day celebration, and today is United Nations Day, and I have here a wonderful friend already.
Tell us a little bit about bringing Jane Roberts here to central Pennsylvania.
Well, the theme of the United Nations Association nationally this year is maternal health and well-being. And the founder of our Centre County chapter, Peg Sherman, had read Jane's book cover to cover, and when she knew that the theme for the year, felt that if Jane was willing to come, it would be a tremendous source of education to Centre County citizens who celebrate United Nations Day with us.
It's no secret to you, Norma, that the United Nations in recent years, critics have said that it's ineffective, it's irrelevant today. How do you respond to that?
That is said to me more times than I wish. And when it is said to me, I reference the fact that so much of that criticism is dealt with the politicizing of international relationships. And people who criticize the UN fail to recognize the important work of the World Health Organization, UNICEF, the United Nations Population Fund. They're the troopers that are working worldwide, day in and day out, to work on maternal health, infant survival, and so many other critical health issues.
And that brings me back to the 34 million friends. 34 million is just a number, but what could the UNFPA do with $34 million?
Well, they say that $34 million would prevent 800,000 abortions. UNFPA does no abortions anywhere in the world. It offers the family planning that reduces abortion. And so to me, this is a little bit mind-boggling, because the Bush administration, which is pro-life, so to speak, should want to embrace the UNFPA. 140 countries welcome UNFPA into their countries to help with particularly in rural areas which are underserved by the governments, to go into rural areas and establish the clinics and make the cesarean sections available that we take for granted, the family planning that we take for granted. So I just love to see people give their dollar. You know, there have been Bark for Women dog walks in Central Park in New York City. One woman went to all her friends, neighbors, relatives, and wrote down 310 names, got $1 from each one, and sent it to 34 million friends.
And in fact, United, 34 million friends, contributions have been made from people in 30 countries. And I want to read something that columnist Ellen Goodman wrote about your Grassroots campaign. She heard about it and wrote in the Boston Globe, quote, "This is an idea that comes with an address, a place where we can offer aid as well as dissent, a dollar as well as a message of connection to the women of the world."
That's true. You know, look at this little birth kit. This is crazy. This is a sterile plastic sheet, a bar of soap, a razor blade to cut the umbilical cord, and string to tie it off. This saves thousands and thousands of lives every year. And compare that to what we have here. And one more little tiny thing, I have this little children's writing booklet from Senegal with the seal of UNFPA and the Ministry of Education. A message on the front in French: little girls have as much right to food, education, and health care as little boys. This is what UNFPA does in the world.
Part of the first $1 million that you raised went to fight something that is little known in this country. In fact, there have been very, very few cases in the United States for the past 100 years, and I'm referring, of course, to obstetric fistula, something that happens to young girls with too small birth canals. Tell us something about it and how that money is helping to prevent or correct that problem.
Yes, well, fistula is really a scourge. You know where the Waldorf Astoria is now in New York City? Used to be a fistula hospital. And this is basically a fistula renders a young girl or woman incontinent. It takes surgery to repair this. And half of our first $1 million went to training of doctors and fistula prevention. And I visited the country of Mali, and there's a whole new operating room for fistula in the main hospital in Bamako, Mali, thanks to 34 million friends.
And in fact, for $350 or less, this is a scourge that can be corrected.
Exactly. Exactly.
With just a couple of seconds remaining, why does the mistreatment of girls and women affect all of us, even those of us here in central Pennsylvania?
Well, you know, we are all of woman born, and when women are healthy, children are healthy. And when women are educated, they take care of their communities. And so we do have a stake in this. Everyone has a stake in this. So I'm just very grateful to have been here today. I'm just having a wonderful time in central Pennsylvania.
All right, thanks so much for talking with us.
This is Pennsylvania Inside Out on WPSU TV.
If you'd like more information on the stories that appeared in tonight's program, please go to our website. It's wpsu.org/Inside Out. That's going to wrap things up for this edition of Pennsylvania Inside Out. We leave you tonight with a selection from the WPSU Music Theater Spotlight Series, Jason Fahey singing What You'd Call a Dream. For all of us here at WPSU, good night.
A copy of the program you've just seen can be purchased through Penn State Media Sales at mediasales.psu.edu or by calling 800-770-2111.